It's been about a week since I posted that video, Old Beginnings, talking about the new year and the way I'm sort of going to plan or try and plan things in 8-week blocks. Do my life, do 2025 in 8-week blocks. I want to talk a little bit about that, kind of flesh that out a little bit. Oh, it's cold out here. Can't do it out here. So we'll just throw back to the studio, unpack this a little bit, try and give you some tips on what I'm doing. Let's do that. As I said, it was around a week or so ago that we talked about 2025 being about old beginnings, returning to things that maybe we should have done but kind of missed. And it's not that we can't do new things, but we're going to try and make sure that we don't leave anything behind that might be valuable. I talked a little bit also about wanting to do my year in these kind of blocks, and I'd like to talk about that a little bit more if I can. I got a little book for Christmas, a little sketch pad, and I thought rather than keep it just for doodles and stuff, I'm actually going to use this book as part of the whole Old Beginnings, keeping track of my year, keeping track of these 8-week blocks that I'm going to live in this year. So as well as just doodles and imaginations and drawings and stuff, look, this is where I'm at, folks, just doodling around. I'm using it as a way of tracking what I'm doing, what I want to focus on, and trying to just make sure I've got some order going on. And I keep this thing in my work bag. It stays with me during the day at work. It's with me in the studio here in the evening. So I want to talk a little bit about this block life. I sat down and wrote out, what is every 8 weeks look like? What are the dates of the beginning of if I'm going to do my year in 8-week chunks, when's the beginning date and an end date? And it's kind of, I'm going to do it like this. It kind of ends up with like 6.5 kind of blocks, but it's sort of, might be easier to understand. Let me grab the other pad. So this year, let's imagine you will have 6 blocks. So 2025 old beginnings, get that right. So you're going to have 6 blocks, okay, in your year. This first block, okay, has got January and February, right? March and April, May, June, July, August, September, October, and November to December. These would be your 6 blocks in the year. So this first 8-week block, if you just kind of, I know January is kind of a long month, and I know some of these months are longer than others, but just as an easy kind of look, if you're not doing it super accurate like I want to, if you just want to say, okay, I'm going to divide my year into blocks, it might look like this. So now the question is, in each of these blocks of your year, maybe to note down a list of things. Let's imagine you just choose 4 things to do in each block. 4 things in that 8-week period. Or maybe the more important thing, maybe the easier thing, the better thing to do is to work out what is the thing. What is the thing? Maybe when we've talked about old beginnings and returning to something you should have done, maybe you left last year with something half done and you want to carry on this year, you might know what the thing is. It might be easy for you to access. If not, you need to do some thinking about that. Maybe you have already a few things you want to do. Have a look at this block and work out how you're going to break the one thing or the many things down across these blocks or in the first block. Obviously, you've got the seasons here coming out of winter and into spring and summer and autumn or fall. But what's the thing in 2025? If you're thinking about not missing things, not going back to things you were fearful of trying, things that you came into January this year, said this year's going to be different. What is that? What is that? And look at this first. For me, I'm looking, here we are in January. I'm looking at January and February. And I'm saying, what do I want to get done in January and February? I started off going back to my smaller book. I decided I'm going to write this stuff down. I'm going to try and work out what are the things I really want to get done. And I wrote quite a list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I wrote 10 things on my list, but I realised that was maybe too much in 8 weeks. Already we're into the second-ish week of January. So I broke it down into a little bit more simplified things, minimise that list. And for me, there are 5 things on this list now. Firstly, I want to work on a manuscript. It's called Warfare of Dreams. What led me to do this 8-week block thing was last year I was challenged and encouraged and helped by some friends to complete a project I've been working on for 16 years, a book. They said, what if you said in 8 weeks, no matter what, you're going to have it done, manuscript finished and edited, and I drew all the images for the book, have all them laid out in the book properly, and have that book a photo shoot for the cover and get it properly published and released, available. And it is available on Amazon. If you want to check the description, I'll throw a link to it here, and I'll throw a link up here to the video talking a little bit more about that 8-week period and the work that went into it. But it made me realize, with the focused, if you fix your eyes on something and you tell others and you tell yourself and you make a note of it, it's amazing what you can get done in an 8-week period. So for me, having done one book and it taken a long time, but it being nailed in 8 weeks, I decided I want to do that again. So I'm going to work on the Warfare of Dreams manuscript. Second thing on the list is jobs for Z and R. That's my wife is Zoe and I'm Rick. We both want different jobs. We're both not fulfilled with what we're doing. Mob funding. I do something called Mob, a movement of brotherhood. We run 4 events a year with men in a private woodland, and it's epic. Again, I'll throw a video up here somewhere, a link when I've talked about that in the past. We are becoming a more organised team of people that run it, and we're trying to get funding. So we need to look into applying for some funding. Fourthly, gym. I want to get to the gym 16 times in this 8-week period. I drew a little picture of myself and how that might look. Just because I'm an idiot. I need to work on this left leg, man. This left leg's got some trouble here. I even drew 16 little blocks that I would tick off every time I went. And as you can see, it's going very, very well. I'm actually going to the gym tonight. But overall, I realized for me, one of the biggest things I want to do this year, and this might not be a thing that is in your bag at the moment, but it might be. And I want to be honest with you and let you know this is something I'm really trying to nail. I am a man of faith. I have been a man of faith since I was just before I was 17, had an encounter and it just changed my life forever. So I'm trying to focus in this first block and in every block I've got in 2025 on prayer. What does it mean to pray? How does it look for a man, 48-year-old man, with a couple of kids and a mortgage and a dog and a job and longings and desires and disappointments, and who's done a shed load of stuff wrong and some stuff good? What does it mean to be someone who prays? So that's a big thing for me. It's probably, I've wrote it slightly bigger than the rest because it is a thing that's going to be in over every block. But returning to you, will you join me? How about we decide and we look at these blocks and we decide, I'm just going to take the next 8 weeks. Maybe you're struggling. Maybe 2023 was a really difficult year for you and you struggled to get some stuff done. And actually, it's hard for you to think of what can I do over the next 12 months? Forget that. Forget that. Imagine, if you will, for one moment, 2025 is the first 8 weeks. That's it. 2025 is the next 8 weeks. What do you want to do? Imagine if it helps you, a little bit dark. You've only got 8 weeks left. What would you do? What would you prioritize? What would you avoid? What would you pursue? Who would you pursue it with? What do you need to stop? What do you need to begin? What do you need to burn? What do you need to learn and grow in? What if your 2025 was just this block? Just this one? 8 weeks. Just 8. Well, not even 8 now. We've kind of blown through the first few. 6 weeks. What could you get done in the next 6 weeks? What has been something that's hung on your life? You've never been able to get through it, deal with it. Do it. Let's do it. Anyway, this has just been my thinking. I don't know how helpful this has been for you. I hope it has been helpful for you. I'm going to keep checking in with you guys. I'm not going to disappear. I will check in at the end of every block, how it's going, what we've achieved, what we haven't, what we've learned, where we succeed and where we fail, I'll try and show all of it to you and not leave anything behind. Anyway, that's it for me. Let's do this. Laters.